Hi everyone, I'm back again with a new video, but now this is quite a historical video on my channel because now this is going to start the first annual preview of games with the Saints. Obviously, I'm a big diehard Saints fan, so I want to go through a couple things, what I think will happen, and hopefully, with my prediction, it could come true. I'll look a lot smarter. Hopefully that happens. We'll see what happens, obviously, but let me go through some numbers with you guys. So, obviously, the big, who do you think is going to win? Well, I think it's obvious. I have the New Orleans Saints. I think they'll win 34-28. I think it's going to be closer than what people think. Obviously, when home teams go on the road, don't always expect they're going to win. Home field advantage is obviously a thing in the NFL. I think teams in the NFL, if they go on the road, they are technically at a disadvantage. Some teams, handle that better than others. The Saints have been the past several seasons. They've handled that well. They've done very well on the road. I think it continues. I think they have a better squad overall than the Carolina Panthers. In the last 8 matchups the Saints and Panthers have played, the Saints have won 7 out of 8 times. And the game that they lost, obviously, was Week 17, 2018, when the Saints were resting their stars to go into the postseason when they had the #1 seed in the 2018 playoffs. So to me, that stat alone gives me an idea on who's better, who's got the better personnel. Obviously, the New Orleans Saints. Now let's go through some stats, what I think is going to happen. I have Jameis Winston throwing for 202 yards and 2 touchdowns and an INT. He will throw a pick. I say that because, it's bound to happen. I think my prediction, not just for this game, but the whole season, is that Jameis Winston will have his interception numbers will be at least 10 or below. And for a guy who threw 30 interceptions in 2019, that's a huge step forward, and I think that's going to continue because of the tutelage under Sean Payton. Sean Payton being a great offensive mind in the NFL. Alvin Kamara, I think, will have 11 rushes for 102 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I think Kamara will probably have 5 catches for 80 yards. I think he's going to do great in the passing game. He won't get a touchdown, in my opinion, but he will. Obviously, we know who Kamara is. He's just so versatile. He brings value on the rushing side and the passing side, and it will continue in Carolina. Lattimore, they got his big payday, $66 million. I think he'll have an interception in the game. I think he will pick off Sam Darnold. I think, in my opinion, Lattimore is one of the premier corners in the league, and he will continue in this game to show why he's worth that money. Christian McCaffrey, this is big. Kamara versus McCaffrey, some of the best running backs in the NFL. 2 of the most versatile by far. I think McCaffrey will match Kamara. They're just both insane. But McCaffrey brings as much value as Kamara does to his offense, and that's saying a whole heck of a lot. I think McCaffrey gets 2 touchdowns on 7 rushes for 50 yards. One thing about the Saints, especially their defensive line, is very stout. In the past several seasons when the Saints have been playoff caliber, their biggest name to fame, especially on that defensive side, is that they stopped the running game. And even with McCaffrey, he does get 2 touchdowns, but I think it'll be short field. But, when the field's more open, I don't think McCaffrey will have as much success because that defensive line for New Orleans is quite tough. Marquez Callaway, for you Saints fans out there, you know who Callaway is. Matter of fact, last year, he played the Panthers. The Panthers came to New Orleans. That's when Breeze was still here. Had a great game, over 100 yards receiving. I think he will give us a touchdown for 5 catches, 72 yards. I think he'll be quite successful. We know who Callaway. We know what he can do. If you watch the Jacksonville preseason game, 2 touchdowns. And if you watch that Carolina game last year, you know what he's all about. He's going to be a successful wide receiver. And then Robbie Anderson for Carolina. I want to throw some Panthers players in so it doesn't look like I'm completely biased. Anderson, I think he scores a touchdown. Robbie Anderson, a lot of people don't know who he is. He's quite underrated. He's in a small market, so, he's not well known, but on this channel he is. Robbie Anderson, I think, will get a touchdown, 6 catches for 80 yards. And then I have Sam Darnold throwing 2 touchdowns, but I think he's going to come out a little more heavy on the interception end. He will throw for 3 interceptions, but he will have 324 yards passing. I think he's playing a very good defense, but I think Panthers have a better offense, especially with McCaffrey back. And I do think McCaffrey will bring a lot of value, not just with his running ability and passing ability, but him just being a decoy, I think will discombobulate the Saints defense a little bit. That's why there'll be more points than usual. But again, the score I have is the New Orleans Saints 34, Panthers 28. Hopefully this happens. I have a lot of confidence. Go Saints.